All right, let's jump into Psalms 91 through 100 today. We're going to be looking at some pretty cool themes: refuge, justice, worship, and thanksgiving. Big stuff. I think this is really going to get us thinking, even for just, daily life.
It really will. These psalms, they speak to, the human experience really profoundly, and they've stayed relevant for centuries.
Okay, so Psalm 91, it's called the Soldier's Psalm. Why that title, do you think?
I think it's because, well, it really emphasizes God as protector, like a shield when you're in danger. And, that image would have definitely resonated with soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Facing threats all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's interesting how Psalm 91, it starts by talking about, dwelling in the secret place of the Most High, abiding under his shadow. What does that make you think of?
That makes me think of its strong image, seeking refuge
Mm.
and finding safety in God's presence, almost like, being inside a fortress. You can't get through it, and you're sheltered from all the storms of life.
Wow, an impenetrable fortress. That's a powerful image. And then verse 11, it talks about angels guarding us and protecting us.
Yeah.
That's got to be reassuring, right?
It really is. And it reminds us that we're never really alone, even when we're going through tough times. Some people might take that literally about the angels, real physical beings. But others might see it more as like a metaphor for divine help.
Yeah, I could see that. So it's kind of like always knowing that someone's got your back. That fortress image, has that ever, really resonated with you in your own life?
Oh, absolutely. I think anyone who's been through hard times, like if you've been sick or you've lost someone, or you just feel uncertain about things, you can relate to that, wanting to feel safe and secure.
That's so true. Okay, so we've got that strong theme of refuge in Psalm 91.
Mhm.
But then we get to Psalm 92, and it feels very different.
It does. It's much more celebratory. Psalm 92 is all about praising God and how faithful he is. And not just, when things are good, but all the time.
Yeah, it actually says it stresses making Thanksgiving a regular thing. And it says it doesn't just say give thanks. It says it is good to give thanks unto the Lord. Why do you think it's phrased that way?
I think it's because it shows us that giving thanks isn't just some religious duty. It's actually something that's good for us. It changes our perspective, helps us see the good, and that leads to ultimately a happier life.
Yeah, that's a great point. So it's like choosing to be grateful, not just reacting when something good happens.
Exactly. And there's this image in Psalm 92, verse 13. I think it really illustrates that beautifully. It compares people who are rooted in God's house to a tree planted by a river.
Yeah, the classic image of flourishing, plenty of water. But I'm wondering, how do you connect that to Thanksgiving?
Well, I see it like this. Just like a tree needs water to grow, right? We need gratitude to nourish our souls. If we just keep focusing on what we don't have, it's like we're cutting ourselves off from that water source. But gratitude, that opens us up to abundance and growth.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. Really powerful. So Psalm 91 is about finding shelter in God. Psalm 92 is about gratitude as a way of life. What's the main idea in Psalm 93, would you say?
Psalm 93, that takes us in a slightly different direction. It focuses on God's sovereignty and that his rule is eternal. The first verse is powerful. It says, "The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also established, that it cannot be moved."
Whoa. Yeah, that's a strong opening for sure.
Yeah.
I picture like a king,
Yeah.
wearing those royal robes, just totally unshakable, strong, stable.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminds us that even when when it feels chaotic and we don't know what's going to happen next, there's a higher power in control.
Yeah, that feels especially relevant these days, don't you think?
Absolutely. With so much change happening, so much uncertainty, remembering God's reign, how it's eternal, it's unchanging, that can really ground us.
Yeah, for sure. That stability, it can be really comforting when it feels like everything's spinning out of control.
Right. It makes us look past just what's right in front of us and find peace in the bigger picture.
Okay, so we've got refuge, gratitude, sovereignty, and then Psalm 94 seems to deal with something a lot heavier, the problem of injustice. What really struck you in this psalm?
What I find really compelling about Psalm 94 is it doesn't try to hide how much people suffer. It acknowledges the pain, the confusion people feel when they're treated unfairly.
Yeah, it's that age-old question, isn't it? Why do bad things happen? Especially to good people. We all struggle with that at some point.
Oh, definitely. But even with all that anger and frustration in the psalm, there's also a flicker of hope.
What makes you say that?
Well, look at verse 14. It says, "The Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance." That's reassurance. Even when things are at their worst, even when you're facing injustice, God's still there, holding on to us, working things out for our good.
That's a powerful thought. Like, even if you feel abandoned, you're not. But Psalm 94, it doesn't just talk about hope for the future, does it? It talks about comfort, like right now,
Yeah.
even when you're in trouble.
You're so right. Verse 19, it says, in the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. So it's about the power of turning to God for comfort, for peace, when your mind's racing and you feel weighed down.
Finding that calm in the middle of the storm, I've definitely had times when my faith has brought me peace during tough times.
I think lots of people can relate to that, no matter what they believe specifically. Everyone needs comfort when things get rough.
So we've gone from looking for refuge to expressing gratitude, acknowledging God's sovereignty, and then facing injustice. Where does this take us next?
Psalm 95, that marks a big change. It's a call to worship, a really lively one, to celebrate God's greatness.
It's almost like the Psalms are mirroring what it's like to be human, you know? We go through hard times, look for comfort, find hope, and then we feel that urge to praise God and give thanks.
You put that so well. Psalm 95 really does capture that. It starts with this, enthusiastic invitation. Oh, come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. It's almost like God's inviting us to a party.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels much more upbeat, like we're
Yeah.
going from being reflective, looking inward, to just celebrating.
Yeah. But what's interesting is how verse 7 in Psalm 95, it actually connects back to that idea of refuge, of protection from Psalm 91. It says, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand.
Oh yeah, the shepherd imagery. A classic way to show how God cares for us, guides us.
It is a powerful metaphor. It suggests that even though creation is vast, God's involved in our lives, guiding us, protecting us, like a shepherd with their flock.
And that's comforting, isn't it? To feel seen,
Mm-hmm.
cared for, when the world feels so chaotic and overwhelming.
It is. And that feeling of belonging, of being part of something bigger than yourself, that's really at the heart of what it means to connect with God through worship.
Wow. So we've gone from searching for refuge to being grateful, to understanding God's sovereignty, wrestling with injustice, and now we're being invited to celebrate, to worship. What a journey. And we're only on Psalm 95.
I know. It's amazing how much depth, how much emotion is packed into these ancient texts.
All right, well, let's pause here for a moment, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into these powerful Psalms. Welcome back. So we were talking about that shepherd imagery, remember, in Psalm 95. It's so comforting. So what about Psalm 96? What's new there?
Well, Psalm 96, it takes that celebrating God, that greatness, and it goes even further. It's not just us, personally worshiping. It's about telling everyone, all the nations, about his glory.
So it's like we're taking that feeling, that joy and awe we have inside, and making it global.
Exactly. It says it right in verse 3. Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people. Our faith, it's not supposed to be a secret, right? We got to share it, celebrate it everywhere.
Like a ripple effect, spreading that message of God's love and hope all around the world. And doesn't that seem especially important now? The world's so interconnected.
Absolutely. Think about it. We've got technology, social media, so many ways to connect with people everywhere from all different walks of life. We can share our faith in ways we never could before.
That's true. But it's not just about like going out and telling people, right? Psalm 96 also brings us back to God being sovereign, like we saw in Psalm 93.
Right, you are. Verse 10, it says it plain and simple, the Lord reigneth. It's a powerful reminder. Even when we're struggling or feeling down, God's still in charge. He's working everything out the way it's supposed to be.
It gives you hope, puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so Psalm 96 is global worship and remembering that God's in control. How about Psalm 97? What's the highlight there for you?
Psalm 97, it keeps that celebration going, but it's all about God's power, his awesome power. And it's like nature itself is proving how great he is.
Oh, I love that. It's like the whole world singing his praises.
That's a great way to put it. Verse 6 really captures that. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory.
It reminds us to really look at the world around us, to see what God's done, the beauty of nature, all those amazing details in creation.
It's like an invitation to experience God, not just in church, but, out there. The huge sky, the waves crashing, even a tiny flower. I think that connects with everyone, no matter what they believe, don't you?
Absolutely. That connection to nature, it's a source of awe and wonder. for everyone. Okay, so we've got global worship, God's sovereignty, and now nature itself declaring his glory. What comes next?
Psalm 98, that one really picks up the energy again. It says, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise." That's verse 4.
Sounds like one big party.
Yeah.
It's like worship doesn't have to be serious and formal, does it?
Not at all. It can be exciting from the heart. Joy and gratitude, that's what matters. And it's not just singing either. It's anything you do, any way you express yourself, if it glorifies God. Dancing, painting, even just being kind and helping others.
I love that. Finding ways to put that spirit of worship, that thankfulness into everything we do. Now, Psalm 99, that one feels a little different. It focuses on God's holiness, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Psalm 99 reminds us that God is not just loving and kind, but he's also completely unique, set apart. He deserves our deepest respect, our awe. It's kind of hard to understand sometimes.
It's like we got to realize that his majesty, it's beyond what we can even grasp.
Exactly. Verse 9 says, "Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his holy hill, for the Lord our God is holy." We have to come to God with humility, realizing how powerful he is.
So it's about recognizing how different we are from God, right? Feeling that awe and reverence because he's so divine, so other.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Even though he's so far above us, he still chooses to be with us, to relate to us. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It makes you realize faith is about being close to God, but also respecting how great he is. We're drawn to his love, but we got to acknowledge how incredible he is. And now we come to the last psalm in this group, Psalm 100. Wow, what a journey.
It really has been. And Psalm 100, it feels like the perfect ending to everything we've talked about. It's like the ultimate song of gratitude and praise. It tells us that our relationship with God, it starts with being thankful.
Verse 4, it's a beautiful invitation. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. It's almost like a guide to living a happy life.
I think it is. And it says gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's something we do. We choose to focus on the good things, and we tell God how much we appreciate them.
We weave thankfulness into everything, and that's powerful, isn't it?
So powerful. Being grateful can change how I see things. It helps us see hope, even when things are really tough.
Wow. Okay, so we started with seeking refuge, then we talked about gratitude, understanding that God's in charge, facing injustice, celebrating his glory in nature, and now ending with overflowing thankfulness. What a journey these Psalms have taken us on.
It's amazing, right, how these ancient writings still speak to us so strongly today. They talk about those things we all want deep down: love, belonging, finding meaning, and hope.
They're like a guidebook for all the complicated stuff we face in life. No matter what's going on, no matter how uncertain things feel, God's there, offering his love, his comfort, his grace.
You know, thinking about these Psalms, it makes me wonder, how would those messages sound if they were written now, today?
That's an interesting question. How could we capture these timeless truths using the language, the experiences of our modern world?
It's a challenge, but I think it'd be really exciting. We'll be right back to explore that idea and wrap up our deep dive into Psalms 91 through 100.
Welcome back. So we've been on quite the journey through these Psalms, right? Lots to think about.
We have. It's amazing, you know, from finding refuge to seeing injustice and then celebrating how awesome God is. And these Psalms, they were written so long ago, but they still matter to us now.
Yeah, definitely. Before we finish up, though, I wanted to go back to that question we asked earlier. How would we say these things, these messages about trust, gratitude, being in awe of God, if they were written today? Like, what would they sound like?
It's a really interesting question to consider. How could we put those timeless themes into words and experiences that we can relate to in our world today?
Like, if you think about Psalm 91, instead of a fortress, maybe to talk about, like, finding refuge in an online community, finding strength in your group of friends.
Yeah, I like that. Or think about Psalm 95, that invitation to worship. Maybe today it wouldn't be about literally singing. It'd be about showing our gratitude by helping others, or being creative, expressing ourselves, using what we're good at, our talents, to make things better.
That's a beautiful thought. And what about Psalm 97, the one with all that imagery about nature reflecting God's glory? Maybe today it'd be about finding that awe in science and the discoveries we make.
Yeah.
We're seeing how everything in the world's connected.
Exactly. There's so many ways these Psalms could be rewritten using our language or metaphors. It's a challenge, but it's an exciting one.
It really is. And I think it shows how powerful these messages are. It doesn't matter what time period, what culture, they speak to something deep inside us as humans.
It's like a reminder that even though the world's always changing, The things we need, they stay the same. We need connection, meaning, hope.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Psalms 91 through 100, we want to leave you with a challenge, listeners. How would you express these messages of faith? Using your own words, your own life experiences.
Maybe you'd write a song or make some art, or even just talk about it with a friend. Whatever you do, let these Psalms inspire you to seek refuge, be grateful, and live a life full of awe and wonder.
And remember, the most amazing discoveries are often in the most unexpected places. Keep searching, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.